Although you may not agree that skateboarding is a sport, I think we can all agree that skateboarding is a very physical activity and it demands a lot of your body. And one of the best ways to take care of our body and to ensure that we can skate for a very long period of time is to have a proper warm-up routine. One of the biggest benefits to warming up while skating is, one, to avoid as much injury as possible, and two, just to increase your skateboarding longevity, being able to skate for a long period of time. Right now, I'm only 25, but I'm only gonna get older, and I wanna be able to skate when I'm 40 or 50 and not have to worry about a lot of injuries or any physical limitations that I might have the older I get. So in this video, we're just gonna break down my entire warm-up routine, everything I do to ensure that I have the best skate session I possibly can. So let's get right into it. So the first thing on my warm-up routine, and probably one of the most obvious, is to stretch. Now, admittedly, I don't do this enough, but I try to do it especially during the winter months when it's really cold outside, but I try to stretch as much as possible before I actually start skating. And for me, it's important to mix static stretching with dynamic stretching. If you don't know the difference between these two things, static stretching is where you're stretching in a stationary position. These are like your basic normal stretches that most people know, while dynamic stretching is adding some type of movement to the stretch. One of my favorite dynamic stretches is to find a wall to lean up against and do these leg swings. It really gets your leg loose and just starts loosening up the muscles. So just make sure, if you can, try to mix in both static and dynamic stretching into your warm-up routine, and hopefully that'll set you up for a good skate session. So after getting the stretching out of the way, I move on to the next step of my warm-up routine, and that is a percussion massager. Now, using a percussion massager as part of the warm-up is relatively a new thing within the past couple years, and I've been seeing it everywhere. I've been seeing a lot of athletes use them, but I decided last year to pick one up. They can be really expensive, but you can always find some typically on sale. I got this thing for like 75 bucks on Amazon, and it works great. Now, everyone may not be able to go out and buy one of these, but I do just want to talk about the benefits of percussion massagers for those of you that are actually interested in going out and getting one for yourself. Now, there are two main benefits to using a percussion massager in your warm-up, and the first is that when you're massaging your muscles with this, it increases blood flow. And that increase in blood flow just helps the muscles react better, it helps them loosen up and get them ready for any kind of physical activity. And the second benefit to having a percussion massager is when you're massaging your muscles, when your muscles are being beaten by this massager, it activates your sympathetic nervous system, and your sympathetic nervous system includes that fight and flight response, which I'm sure you've heard of before.
I got two guys.
And having that response to the massager gets your body ready for physical activity, because it's getting ready for this fight or flight situation when really you're just getting ready to go out and do physical activity. So having a percussion massager as part of your warm-up could be greatly beneficial. So at this point, we have stretched, we've used my percussion massager. Step number 3 is when I actually step on the board for the first time. Step number 3 is I just grab my board and I roll around the skate park. I don't really pop my board. I might pop a couple ollies, but that's pretty much it. I'll just roll around all the ramps, all the transition, just pump around the park, get my legs loose. And this is just a time to get a sense of what it feels like on my board for the first time that day, especially if it's an early morning skate session like it is today. I just like to roll around for an extended period of time, probably 5-10 minutes of me just rolling around before I even attempt to pop a trick. Also, this is a great time to roll around switch. If you're trying to get comfortable learning switch tricks, which I am this year, I use this time to just kind of roll around switch as well, just to get more comfortable riding in my opposite stance. So that's tip number 3, just roll around and get comfortable on your board before you even pop any tricks. And now the fourth and final step to my warm-up routine is probably a little different than you think. Most people at this point would probably say to skate flat before you hit anything, but for me, I am the exact opposite. I like to do tricks off of ramps, or in this case, the hip. So this is my local skate park, and there's a really nice hip right in the middle of the park, and for me, that is my go-to spot to warm up. You see, in my point of view, skating flat takes a lot more energy than going off of a ramp, because the ramp will help you generate that upward momentum to get off of the ground, while on flat, you and your own body have to generate all the power to get off of the ground and to get a good pop. So whenever I warm up, I'll drop in, and I like to skate the hip because it's just so much easier to get warmed up on the hip than it is on flat. And at this point, this is where I start popping my board and actually doing tricks on my skateboard as part of the warm-up. And I have a very specific routine, and I always do these tricks in this order. And that order is as follows. I start with an ollie, then I do a front 180, then a backside 180, then a front shove, then a pop shove, then a kick flip. And more recently, I've been trying to get better at heel flips, so I've been adding heel flips in on the hip as well as part of my warm-up routine. So if you see me at the park, every time I come to my local skate park here in Lexington, I will always start with those tricks on the hip in that order almost every single time. So that right there has been my entire warm-up routine. I start by just doing some dynamic and static stretching, then I use my percussion massager, then I just roll around the park to get comfortable on my board, and then finally we actually start doing tricks on the hip, just some of my basic fundamental tricks on the hip just to get loose and get a sense of what it feels like flipping my board. And then after I finish those fundamental tricks on the hip, I'll either continue skating the hip, I'll move on to doing like backside flip, frontside flip, my tray flips, hard flips, I'll keep doing more advanced stuff, or if I'm not feeling like skating the hip that day, I'll move on to skating flat maybe, or I'll go over here and I'll skate the box and the rail section of the park. From that point, it's just an actual skate session and I'm free to kind of go do whatever I'm feeling that day. So with that said, we are now warmed up. Let's go have a proper skate session, but I just want to give you a quick update on my progress for 2022. A couple videos ago, I gave you a list of 10 tricks that I wanted to learn this year in 2022. I have currently already learned 3 of them. At the time of recording this, it's only January 30th, so it's only the first month, and I've already checked off 3 of the tricks on my list. I've already learned how to fakie hard flip, frontside 180 nose grind, and yesterday I just learned how to switch backside board slide. So I'm hoping today I can do all 3 of those in this video, and then maybe we might try to learn a new trick today. We'll see. I don't know, not quite feeling it. It's pretty cold out here. But regardless, let's go skate. Let's go end off the video with a solid skate session.
I ran up a check, I might do it again. Enemies close, got me thinking they're friends. 10 toes down, I'll be free until the end. Crib outside the city, I don't feel safe in my hands. Took so many years, I was waiting for the wins. I'm in debt to no one but the one who took my sins. I do it for real, there's no reason to pretend. If I do it once, I do it again. Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up, bankroll, euro, peso, add it up. I'm just doing me, everything is on me. Oh, you matter what? Add it up. Told her if it's all me, everything is on me. Gon' back it up. Told you I'ma do me, why you hating on me? It's not adding up. I do roll like a Mack truck. I'm a power farm, go act up. Lot of scars, I was cold hard and now I'm backed up. I do this once a month, I don't rap much. I just take the money and go stack up. Only buying car, take it tatted up. All the bull, it don't matter much. You only climb me, I put the ladders up. No fault, I done doubled up on the workload.
So mission accomplished. I landed all 3 of the new tricks that I've learned so far this year, all within a matter of about 30 minutes. The switch backside board slide definitely was the hardest for me. Skating switch still was just so uncomfortable, but I think the one I landed was very good. I'm really happy with that progress, especially considering that I just learned that trick yesterday at the time of recording this video. If you haven't already, feel free to go check out the 10 tricks I want to learn in 2022. I'll have it linked down in the description if you're interested. So this has been my full warm-up routine every time I go to the skate park, especially here at my local skate park. Sometimes it varies, but for the most part, if I want to get a solid warm-up in, I will do everything that I just listed. Please feel free to let me know what you guys do in your skateboarding warm-ups. Do you even warm up at all? I'd love to know. Let's have a conversation down in the comments. I'd love to get some different ideas of things that maybe I could implement into my daily warm-up. On your way out, do me a huge favor, hit the like button down below. It helps boost this video and push it out to other people. And if you really like this video and you want to hang out and stick around, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because I upload every Friday at 8 p.m. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video.